All right, guys. How's it going? Hope everyone's doing good. It's what is this? Wednesday? Wednesday evening, post FOMC. Absolutely absurd day. Sorry, my voice is a little bit off right now, but absurd day. Um, I'll be honest. I did not think this would happen. As always, it's important to stay bias neutral, if that makes sense. Like, don't have a bias. It's okay to start to derive data from daily and weekly candles and how the weekly is formulating. But to say that I expected this, man, especially for how well I've been calling price action and just getting a read on where liquidity is going to kind of draw to. I personally thought SPY was going to blast off to 450. I thought I didn't think Tesla was actually going to go to 280. I thought it was going to consolidate and bait a little bit more of the gap. That's what we're actually going to be reviewing here. But yeah, completely thrown off today. Um, Now things flip a little bit in terms of tape. We're going to get into that a little bit later, especially Discord side of things, Twitter, Twitter. You guys are going to get more of an in-depth analysis of what I think. But yeah, let's review some trades here, right? That's kind of the goal. One of the big trades I took today, post FOMC or PAL speaking, was Tesla 260 puts. Why have I been so short on Tesla? Very simple, guys. A lot of you guys are exit liquidity. It's very simple. I've talked about this since last Monday, right? As soon as the Goldman Sachs, was it Goldman? Who was it? Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley upgrade came out, baiting you essentially into a gap fill. Retail loves gaps. I don't know why. People think it's a very easy trade when it gets near a gap and it's just going to fill magically and you're going to make a ton of money. It doesn't work that way, right? An upside gap is usually a trap for sellers to sell it back down into a range and then they can grab cheaper shares, contracts, whatever it may be at good buy levels. Same for the downside gaps, right? They're called gap traps. I love trading them personally. Tesla was no different. Tesla just took a little bit longer, in my opinion, to formulate. But yeah, this is essentially what I've been looking for. We broke above 261, which is that weekly high. We were in this consolidated zone here. Gap up on the news, retested that, and just went, right? You guys can see here in terms of volume, right? It wasn't anything spectacular. It was just kind of slowly grinding up day by day. And I think this is where a lot of people got really comfortable, right? Just like getting any pullback, buying the pullback. You made some money on it. Sure, it might have been a lot, might have been a little, really depended on your sizing, but people got really comfortable just buying pullbacks on Tesla. And you can see it wasn't necessarily an exhaustion, but it wasn't really getting a big break over this high here, which was, I think, in my opinion, kind of the candle where they started to dump shares and really start to exit their positions. And it was really teasing the gap. Like I said, it kept slowly and incrementally pushing up to 280.93. I think a lot of people were just over leveraging into 280 calls, potentially the 289.52s for the fill, and really just thinking it was guaranteed, money there. And that kind of tied into today, right? We were looking for it really to start to slip under this little shelf right here at 271. That's where I thought this would, break under and maybe retest. We did break under. You guys can see this daily candle here on Monday. Pushed up to that level, broke down all the way to 261, and really bounced and caught again, right? And today was a telltale sign, and I want to show you guys, right? I think I saw a lot of people get caught in this. The market was just consolidating, and it got super sketchy, right? Because I kind of know that we're once again in a not a distributive phase, but big money's exiting their position at these highs, right? And they're probably going to buy back down in that range under 261 and move it right back up to the gap. That's my opinion. But really, right, we had this imbalance candle. Look at the volume here, right? Just completely dead in this consolidated spot, right? And it ends up getting a massive jump in volume. As a trader, red flag should be up. I know a lot of people get excited when Tesla does these things, but right, we should kind of know, hey, what the fuck? We have this daily high here, right? The initial high, 15-minute orb high, tied in kind of with, I guess, the actual high, and it tied in perfectly with a fair value gap candle, right? This is an imbalance candle, guys. Look at the complete difference in volume here. So in reality, right, you'd be looking for a push up and a retest of this level. And this is where I got really sketched out on, right? Is Tesla, I was using as a gauge for the entire market. I'll give you guys a little bit of sauce, right? These bigger candles, especially hourlies, you can do it on a 15 though. I like to do it on dailies, usually hourlies, but you can do it on a 15. You guys can pull fibs on these. They're their own impulsive waves or impulsive candles, right? So I don't know if the colors will match up here. I don't know why that one's black. Let's change this to blue. It's gonna look awful, but actually let's get rid of this one. 382 we don't care about. We'll get rid of the 0.5. So 618 should only be here, right? What did this end up doing? Pushed out off the impulsive candle, kind of made a new high here. Pretty gross candle in terms of a rejection. Pulled down, hit the 618, and whenever you guys get a 618 bounce off an imbalance candle, if it doesn't break the high, you should be sketched. You guys should be very, very sketched. What did we get? We got a push off the 618, move straight back into this high. Look at the volume on this candle, another rejection candle, massive wick, and you have equal selling volume coming at these highs here with a lower high intraday. Usually it's a fake break, right? And once again, kind of in the back of my mind, I understand that we are potentially distributing from big money using the upgrade and baiting that gap. Market started to sell off. At this time, I was in SPX, I believe, so I kind of missed this. But as it started to pull down, I was actually waiting for a fair value gap retrace. We'll get rid of the 618 now. Back into this little sweet spot here, right? You guys will see it. It's gonna retest it. What does it do? It literally pushed up and retested kind of this initial high, the initial fair value gap. We didn't get an actual fair value gap for the sell-off, which was unfortunate. So I had to pull this one a little bit more sporadically than I normally would have. But I got in as this pushed up right here, right? Somewhere around 1225, 1230. You guys will see the alert right here, 1232. I got in Tesla 260 puts at 1.66. Why did I choose Tesla 260 puts? Very easy, my friends, right? Pushed up, retested this level. I got in somewhere right around here, right? And as it starts to push down, we're just looking for a lower low, a break of these lows here, and we're trading down to 261, which is that weekly level here. Weekly level, which was this high, right? It's a key spot. This is a spot I'm also watching into tomorrow. I expect it to maybe bounce here, maybe 260 to retest 265/266 and then sell off again, or it's just going to lose 261/260 and then fail. I think down to like this 256 to potentially 253 spot. So that's the trade recap. It was a very, very easy trade. Something I had to be a little bit patient for. Something I didn't see right away because I was in SPX, but I did note the imbalance candle, right? A lot of people got trapped in that. Pulled down. People probably bought this pullback and then didn't recognize the 618 off the imbalance was a lower high with a relatively just as equal high sell-off volume as this high right here, right? That's concerning. And a lot of people didn't notice that. Probably got stuck on this candle here without really realizing what was happening, right? And then it sells off, pushes under, retests the fair value gap or the initial orb high, and then continues to sell off. And this is a disgusting candle. So that was pretty much it, man. Very, very easy trade here. I'll show it one more time because I got down to runners. I think I got a full, almost entirely everything off around like 2.6 to 2.5 from a 1.66 entry at 12:30, guys. So by what market close, I had already made about 60% on the trade. Pretty sized in pretty heavy on this one as well. But yeah, 30-minute trade, very, very easy win here. And just being patient, right? Understanding structure of the chart, understanding that some of these anomalies that occur during the day may be awesome if you're already in them. Once again, if you're in Tesla, congratulations, they're in the call side. But once again, once you start to realize the volume, right, and how awkward it is and how weird that came out of nowhere, right, and then you get a pullback that's perfect into the imbalance 618, and then it doesn't break the high with the same volume, almost the same candle too, right, you should get a little sketched out. But yeah, very good opportunity there. Let's go ahead and review the last one, which was SPX. I think I took 4420 puts. Kind of a lucky trade, if you will. I was actually, once again, I said I was looking long on that one for SPY to push to 450. I actually ended up taking calls, right? Ended up losing on the back half of those. But I kind of got a weird vibe with not only the tape, but the sense of how it was moving, right? I think there's like this weird thing where people like to fade the initial move, and it didn't feel right, and I'll show you guys why. All right. Let's jump into SPY. This was the SPX trade I ended up taking. Of course, though, I want to wholeheartedly admit I was wrong, right? I thought we'd sweep buy side. Reason for that, if we go take a look at like NQ, show ES as well, but NQ is what I ended up trading for the QQQs that I swung. Did really good on those. But yeah, we eventually swept this sell side liquidity here, came under, consolidated, and then they marked it back up to fill kind of the imbalance back up to 15428. And then obviously today happened, but I thought we'd end up sweeping these highs again. Now, if we take a look on SPY, typically this is what happens with FOMC. A lot of people think that the movements happen because of what Powell says or he stutters. It has nothing to do with that, and it has nothing to do with TA most of the time. It's just where is liquidity, where are orders, and how does it draw to it, right? And it's pretty much all it is. Now with SPY, if we take a look here really quickly, I thought initially we would start to push towards buy side, which was like right around here, right? We were looking for a move. We can change this out a little bit. You guys are putting me on the spot. I thought we'd move up to this range here, potentially sell, or no, potentially run, right? I thought we'd get a move down, trace the imbalance candle, which I'll show you guys, sweep the highs here, touch, and then sell back down. At that point, I wouldn't have cared what really happened if it went to 450 or not. It would have been some pretty good money, but I thought we were going to take buy side on this. Let's go ahead and turn on extended hours really quickly, and I'll show you guys kind of what I was looking for and why I pivoted, because I ended up pivoting pretty hard on this. Key level to note was obviously previous day high, right? And that's all I was really concerned with. I had the previous day low already marked, but that was 440. It's now a resistance, so it's going to be red. We can change that green real quick just for visual purposes. But yeah, this is essentially what I was looking at. We were just consolidating, really chopping with the market, and then Powell comes and sells, right? Anytime you guys see these moves happen intraday, think about them the same way I talked about Tesla, right? Think about how quickly price moves intraday, how many orders are passed, right? And think about that almost like a gap down or gap up, but it's overnight. Orders are passed, it's going to make its way back up and fill those orders and then kind of decide what it wants to do from there, right? Almost like a natural price discovery, but it's happening during the day. So that's essentially what a fair value gap is, right? And we got one immediately. If we just take this wick here, we can pull it up to here. This was the true fair value gap. Sorry, this color is going to be a little bit, let's make it a little bit darker for you guys. There we go. So that's what we were looking for this to fill back into. I actually ended up taking a call. I didn't tell my Discord, but I ended up taking the call here. Just one. I took it at like 3.5. I ended up getting out at like 4.3 or something like that. It was just one contract just to feel it out. But yeah, we ended up pushing up and filling this fair value gap. And what really sketched me out, right, was not just the, I guess, fill of it and the rejection, but the fact that we pushed up and touched it again one more time, and then we got a candle close below previous day low, or high, I'm sorry. And then the following candle opened. You guys can see the extension of price wasn't nearly as high, right? Bulls are losing the ability to push it and press it out, back up towards this level, the fair value gap, as well as these candles here. And then obviously the open kind of just hugged. I don't even know what the candle open was. What was it? Open was 442.90, right? So basically right there, it was like 30 cents off. And I just got really sketched at this point. I want to show something too. I don't always use this when I trade, but I think it is important, or it was important today. What was it? What was it? It was this. Market net flow. If you guys, I'm just going to say it. Unusual Whales kind of took this from Tradietics. But yeah, this is essentially white is going to be the price, right? Red is going to be puts that are in the market. Green is going to be calls that are in the market. Calls pretty much stayed flat or negative the entire time, meaning people were selling calls and not really interested in buying calls. And as that bear flag was happening, right, as this was pushing up, there was no call buyers. They were actually selling calls, right? So taking profits along the way rather than being aggressive and stepping up, as we like to say, stepping up the bid if it was like shares. They were not buying that up, right? They were just essentially selling out on the way up. Call or put side was actually ramping, and then really, right? You guys can even see it here. This was the, I think it was the push up, or it was right here. You guys can see it. This little movement right here. Hopefully you guys can see. We started to see puts start to ramp up. Calls stayed relatively flat, and then the price dropped dramatically. There was about 30 million in puts that all occurred at the same time. So really I had a quick pivot because I was thinking this imbalance would fill, right? Maybe pop out, retest, and then go, take out buy side. But once again, right, massive wick here once the fair value gap was filled. Second candle, right, same thing. Wick, candle closes below. This was my first red flag. I was like, okay, something's going on here, right? And then the last candle that really put the nail in the coffin or cemented my put position was you got candle open right underneath the level now. Look at the wick, right? You get the initial wick way lower than these ones. You're losing a ton of volume here. You guys are already losing the ability to push this out. So, I would expect a diminishing spread candle in terms of, how high this body can get, and that's exactly what we got. So I went short. Oh boy, where was I? Hold on. Here it is. Okay, so I went short SPX 4420 at 1.8, right? So I got 1.8, trimmed at 2.6, and then was pretty much almost all the way out of that trade. This is I posted this on Twitter. It wasn't something I was super happy about because it hurts me saying this. These contracts ended up going to about 1500. I didn't think it would go this deep. But yeah, I ended up getting out a good portion at that 2.6 mark, and then I got the rest out at 3.6. And that was pretty much the trade. And you guys will see I took calls here at the bottom. I'll explain that as well. But really, right, it was these lows here that I was targeting where the sell-off stopped, right? So we ended up pushing down, sell-off stopped, retraced through the fair value gap. You guys already know my thesis for taking the trade. So I entered short right around here. The market sold off. I took profits here at 442.60 or 50. This is a big daily level. So this is pretty much where I got everything out, about like the like I said, the 90% mark. I held runners probably down to like right around the bottom of this candle, and then as we started to get this wick development and getting pushed down towards this low here, right, 441.54, I thought this would be the move that pushed us back out, right? I don't want to say it's always smart to think contrarian when it comes to these moves. Remember I said that they draw on liquidity. I just thought it was a worthwhile shot to try to take calls on this. So I ended up taking calls. We'll change colors here really quickly. Like right around here, I want to say. So we'll go here. I ended up taking calls. We'll go blue. Where was it? Yeah, grabbed them at 1.20. Instantly got a pop to 1.6. Told everyone I would stop out under 441.54. If you guys can see, that's this level here. And I ended up getting one more press out, right? So I don't think I timed the bottom perfectly. There's no way I could have done that. But this pushed out initially to 1.6, came down, and then pushed one more time to 1.5. I saw the opportunity. I think I cut like half or something like that. I think I only had 5 contracts, so it wasn't nearly as heavy on this side. But ended up closing call side at like an 8.5 entry, or not entry, 8.5 price, right? So I ended up taking a loss on the last 2 contracts, I believe, or 3. So I think honestly, I'm not too sure. I think I came out with a small win on this one, but was it worth it? In my opinion, yeah. Right, if we ended up getting the move that I thought, where maybe we can press back up to this level here. I mean, just looking at the R trade here, like say I got in at the candle here, right? I mean, that's a 4R. In terms of SPX, who knows what that would have been, but I really like the risk reward potential on that, especially just for, having just a level slightly below. It wasn't that crazy of a loss. So yeah, that was pretty much that trade there. And that's all I really took today. Oh, I did take an NVIDIA trade too. So that was the first trade I took in the morning. You guys can even see my charts here. Where was it? Oh yeah, so I ended up getting my first initial entry here. So breakout, right, pulled back. We got our first higher low of the day. Ended up pressing out just a little bit on this candle here. Obviously a lower high, right, and rejecting the opening print. So hey, should I have cut here? Probably. But this was supposed to be my exposure to Powell. This is what I was going to try to hold until Powell ended up speaking, and then I was going to be okay jeopardizing whatever it was that I risked. But my risk until Powell was actually low a day. So this ended up selling back down, hit low a day, candle did not close. I think I ended up posting this to everybody. If I can find my Discord thing, where did it go? Sorry, I'm not trying to make this super long. Here it is. I think I lost 270 bucks. Yeah, there it is. 270 bucks on this one. Got in at like 1.4 or something like that. Let everybody know, hey, this is what I was looking for. I was looking for a pretty big trade here. I thought this would go to 450. I really did. Maybe 450, or 445, somewhere in that range. The daily looked pretty good. If you guys kind of been watching my setup videos, a lot of overhead stuff on NVIDIA that hasn't been tested. I think it will eventually, but yeah, just let everyone know I had stops at 1.13, sold down pretty quickly. I don't want to show you guys that chart because that's some good stuff there, but I adjusted my stop, right, because I thought, so you always want to use your options chart to see what the actual bottom of the contract can be, and sometimes that's unknown, so I like to risk a level, go light. If it comes down to my risk, then I'll add one more time, and then I know what my stop loss is, right, if that makes sense. So we didn't even reach low a day yet when it broke that higher low. So I'd let everyone know about to stop out under low day, didn't close under, and then then what we ended up getting was this, where it bounced, started to consolidate here. Remember, I don't really care about the inverse head and shoulders, but it was holding that initial higher low, and then it started to sell. And likely I probably should have cut this a little bit earlier, but I let it pull down a little bit deeper than I should have, back to low day, and then I cut. As always, though, with a key level and kind of knowing that you're right, this ended up retesting that. So valid exit, valid reason, for the sell-off here. Obviously, a lot of people probably dumped at the same exact time. So that was that loss. No reason to hide from it. It was just worth a stab, in my opinion. Once again, uh, what was it? Took a loss here for 21%, 270 bucks. Nothing super crazy. Walked away on the day about 680, 690, with 2 wins and 2 losses. Right, the 2 losses that I had were both minimal. I was down to like a half position, or not even half. I had 2 contracts left on SPX puts. And then obviously NVIDIA was probably the one that did the most damage to me, but everything else was great. I'm still swinging some contracts as well on Tesla, so we'll see how those end up opening up. But that was it, 2 for 2, about 700 bucks on the day. We'll just kind of round it up on a very, very volatile day, and it should have been more if I just didn't take that speculative NVIDIA trade. But hopefully that helps you guys out. As always, I try to be as in-depth and thorough as I possibly can with these, and as authentic as I can be as well, with the same way that I tell my members. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you guys learned something with this. I'll try to post these a lot more often. I know sometimes I go off and on with my Twitter posts, but yeah, hope you guys enjoyed.